We are the 4Sportsmen, and this is the Bay Area Roundup. I am your host, Alex Scott.
What's happening is Jay Alkin.
Bob Spang in the building.
Rob City here, man.
Well, let's get into it. The Golden State Warriors are the NBA champions once again. They defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers by the 4-1 in Game 5 by the final score of 129-120. KD wins the MVP, averaging 35.2 points, 8.0 rebounds, and 5.4 assists. Talk about it. Good games. I like. He balled out. He really did. There's no doubt about that. He came to play. No doubt.
He was a killer. He came in clutch.
Game 3 winner. Take a look to that.
Yeah, man, that was a big moment for him. The biggest moment of his career. So it's good.
There's
to
no
see
doubt about that.
The decision worked out.
It did. Debate this.
Nike commercials and all.
Debate this.
Yeah.
Welcome to Big Baller Zone.
We'll get to him a little bit later. Anyway, you got to love the synergy with his team. Curry, though, you got to mention about Steph Curry. He had his best finals performance in 3 years since he's been to the finals. He almost averaged a triple-double, 26.8 points per game, 9.4 assists, and 8 rebounds. Wow. Talk about that. He almost averaged that triple-double if he didn't have a bad Game 4.
And he out-rebounded Tristan Thompson.
Nothing easy.
Yeah.
Nothing easy.
That guy won a title, too. That's
Yes,
always
sir.
good. Yeah, damn right. You know what? I want to get into it real quickly. David West probably had the most inspirational, greatest post-final speech in the history of the NBA.
Definitely. It was good to see these vets that have worked so hard their whole careers and have been on teams that had chances and maybe it didn't work out or happenstance, and he finally got what he deserved. It was great to see him at the parade.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it was all around good deal for those guys.
I like the speech only because, there's kind of been this up and down feel with people who ring chase.
Right.
Some people get hate, some people are congratulated. And I think David West summed it up perfect. Like, there's no sum of money that could replace this moment. And it's not like it's still hard to obtain. He was saying how they had to work every day to get to this title. And
they work.
And it worked. I loved it.
And I'll tell you something. Just you got to remember, the Egyptians taught us, you can't take it with you.
Yes, sir.
Can't take the
They're
treasures
not
with
going to
you.
rook us.
Well, that too. I like that guy. Good guy.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I feel like, you have these guys, they're either chastised for not winning rings.
Right.
And then when they make the conscious decision to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
And go after a ring in the later stages of their career when they still have something to give and they're not just riding the bench.
Yep. Contributors.
They still get chastised for ring chasing. It's like, look, man, he was on those Pacer teams that
Hornets teams
were a couple of plays away from
They could have been through the finals.
right, and it didn't work out. So now he made his best legacy move possible, contributed on a championship team, and damn it, he deserves it.
You can't fault anybody for that. All right. So I'm going to just say this. Let's run it back next year. Let's run it back. Let's do it again.
Yes, sir.
Let's do this again. Well, we got to understand, if we run it back next year, who's going to stay, who's going to go, and then who comes in for the vet minimum. I've kind of broken it down a little bit. Steph comes back on the Supermax.
Yep.
KD comes back on not a Supermax, kind of like the same deal, like the 2-year with an opt-out clause. I want Andre to come back. You got to find it. It's going to be a little bit expensive, but you got to figure it out. Livingston, and I like McGee too. I want McGee to come back. What do you guys think?
Show me the money.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. That's going to be the key.
I think you're going to see Ian Clark get a deal that he deserves. Never been paid big money in his life.
I think he's gone.
Thank you for the chip. You contributed.
Yeah, he did.
You will always have that on your resume. You were in the rotation of one of the best teams to ever do it. Now go take care of your family.
Get your money. I think Barnes is gone too.
Yeah, I think that's.
But
that's about.
the thing for Barnes is that he's still getting paid $6.5 million from Sacramento, so it doesn't matter where the hell he goes.
Man, I'm gonna have to hit that twice
Show me the money.
because he's getting paid, son.
You talk about going from one of the worst dumpster fires in the NBA to going to one of the best teams in synergy in NBA history.
Yeah,
What about that?
That's a lot of money for 5 minutes in the finals.
I agree, and I think Zaza's gone too. I think he's gone.
Wait, so I can't do this anymore?
Nothing easy.
So I have to cut that out?
We might have to cut that out.
There's a lot of veterans that I would like to see get in ring chase mode to help us out.
So
VC?
we'll get it. You know what? Let's get into that.
VC, yes, but I think he's kind of part of that old school wave that kind of believes in loyalty a little bit.
So who's the vet?
A guy like Nene Hilario, I think
Oh,
could
that
help.
I haven't heard him, but that's a good.
Nene can hoop still.
He
though.
still can.
He can hoop.
He's
What about-
been in the league. if he ring chases with us, that's a far better piece than Pachulia ever was.
What about I'm just throwing this out there. What about Zach Randolph? What do you guys think about him?
I think if VC isn't going to come,
then Zach Randolph.
Then Zach Randolph, Zebo for sure not coming then.
I heard something about Brandon Jennings too. What are you guys' thoughts about him?
I wanted them to sign him over Calderon in the first place. When that signing went down, it was Brandon Jennings or Jose Calderon. Matt Barnes wasn't even on the list.
No, he wasn't.
Right, because at that point
KD was healthy.
They needed another point guard. Brandon Jennings is that's instant offense, and that's something that the Warriors didn't really have. Even they won the finals twice, and they still. I would say Leandro Barbosa for the first championship run was that instant offense guy.
The microwave, you can come off the bench, green light. Yeah,
Brandon Jennings would be that perfect guy for that.
Well,
He'd fit in nice.
Yeah, it would be. Well, and they were rumored to draft him like a long time ago, so it would be very interesting. Get him on a low money deal. There's a lot of things that can play out. We got to wait till to see what goes on. Summer League action, all NBA drafts tomorrow. We got a chance to speak with Devin Williams and George from In the Lab, so we'll talk to them a little bit later on in the show. Good times, and always good to talk to them with their basketball knowledge. You gotta love it. Well, and something else too. Some of the suitors that we got into for Andre Iguodala, the Clippers, the Wolves, the Bulls, Jazz, the Hawks, I've heard Rockets are trying to clear cap space. Do you think there's a chance that he goes to another Western Conference opponent?
Child, please.
He ain't going nowhere.
All right.
I don't think so. I think he's doing his due diligence and taking all offers and being the businessman that he is.
Have to be.
Because if somebody does offer him one of those crazy contracts that I would say, like your who's that the guy on the Heat, is that Tyler Johnson?
Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
Even though he's a good young player, he got crazy money for what he produced.
Because the whole thing with the offer sheet with the Nets.
Right.
Yeah.
So if something like that happens where he's just getting money thrown at him, then yes, I could see him leaving just because that's going to be the last big contract he signs before he retires.
Of course.
But if teams aren't in full panic mode due to the super team, I don't see him. If it's a couple million here or there, he's making more money off the court anyway.
That's true. With all of his business deals, especially here in Silicon Valley, it behooves him to stay here.
No, see, I see it as a little bit of a marketing strategy from the guy because I think the Warriors know he would give them a hometown discount,
right?
But I think maybe he's gonna field the offers, quote unquote, just to slightly raise the offer. Maybe they'll respect him a little more. Not saying that they don't. But
just
maybe
a little bit,
maybe the offer is a little nicer than what it would have been,
right?
Knowing
you have to do that. And if you're a businessman, if you want to hear something out, I wouldn't. You want to go for big money, you got to hear him out. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter wherever you go, got to hear money.
Get it, son.
Run it up.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
I'm not hitting it 3 times.
Hitting again. All right. So something. You talked about, Bobby, some of the teams, getting all crazy and fearful of the super team right there. Or the Cavaliers have got to be in one of the craziest, I'm panicking, I don't know what's going on, rebuilds of all time. They get rid of the GM.
Kenny Smith, what do you think?
It's over! It's over, ladies and gentlemen!
So I think that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, it's done.
Nah,
done.
But in all fairness, and being real about it, it's weird to see a team that, I'm not going to say that they really had a great shot to win the finals, but they did have a chance. That you saw in Game 4 what they're capable of, minus the crazy free throws.
Right, exactly.
But you see what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And if they were, if they weren't in cap hell, it'd be a whole different story.
Luxury tax.
Right. They got the highest
lunacy.
They got the highest cap in the league.
Yeah.
And you can put that on GM LeBron. You can put that on head coach LeBron. You can put that on player LeBron because he is the one sitting there saying, Tristan Thompson needs to be on my team, even though all he's good for is 12 and 12, which is nothing to
scoff at. Yeah.
Right, it's nothing to scoff at, but
it does help that Tristan Thompson's agent is LeBron's agent.
Oh yeah, they're all in
they're
there,
all
you know
together. I mean, you got to blame the owner too. You got to blame Dan Gilbert for shelling out the money. I mean, he can pay it. He doesn't matter to him. He can throw out all that money out there. Rob, go ahead.
You know what? I want to ask you this just because me and Bobby were able to have a conversation about it already. Does Porzingis on the Cavs scare you at all? Because he would be on his rookie deal still. They wouldn't have to ship a guy like Kevin Love to make the deal work. You would bring him in.
So that
is a game changer.
Well, think about then I would say what would you build the rotation at? See, okay, you know what? Here's an option out there. What about if you have Love coming off the bench?
I was just gonna say that. What if he's your sixth man?
That's a little that's scary. That option is very interesting. It's intriguing.
Or if you're pleased with what the rotation could look like with a Porzingis on a cheap deal, maybe you ship Kevin Love for a piece that you think you need, like a Jimmy Butler.
What? You think that Jimmy Butler and him straight up?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Not straight up. Obviously, there's other factors that would have to go into it, but it's something to play with and think about.
But I don't think I think Jimmy Butler he does not want to be anywhere near Cleveland.
That's already been out.
Yeah, that's been out there. Yeah.
Jimmy doesn't want to play in Cleveland.
No.
But you know what? In the words of Joakim Noah, do you think Cleveland is cool?
No.
Do you want to live in Cleveland?
Hell no.
Do you want to go on vacation to Cleveland?
I don't.
Okay, so is it really that outlandish to think that these guys that are making millions of dollars and are in the playoffs and competing?
Hell, they're all gone. You know what? They're all gone. They're gonna blow it. They're gonna blow it up. You're gonna see Kyrie go somewhere else in the league and get some money. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just get after it. You know something? Again, let's get into it. Okay, with some trades. A couple of trades went down yesterday with Russell and Mozgov going to the Nets for Lopez and the 27th and 28th pick. Good trade for LA. I think Brooklyn. They're still in purgatory because they don't get their pick. They're in hell.
I think it does make a lot of sense for Brooklyn too.
Why? Let's get into it.
They're not going to get their first round pick for the next. They haven't gotten this year's pick. They're not going to get it next year.
Yeah.
So D'Angelo Russell is really your only chance at young talent that you could preview.
That's good. That's smart.
That's a 21-year-old player, by the way.
Yeah, right. Young, very young.
As much as
skilled 6'5" player.
As much as people make fun of him, he possesses skills. And I think that if he wasn't on the Kobe farewell tour for a year, he would have had more time to develop into the point guard that people thought he would.
I agree with that.
But when you have Mr. I'm just going to sit here and dribble the ball out like people like to make fun of Melo, Kobe's entire last year was give me the ball, set a screen, get out of the way.
60 points against the Jazz.
Right. Oh, God.
I think new scenery is going to boost his career. He might be an all-star in 2 years.
I could see that.
Okay.
I like Russell a lot.
I think that's interesting. You will keep an eye on him. Another one that went down was Dwight Howard to the Hornets for Marco Bellinelli, Plumlee, and the 40th overall pick. Travis Schlenk, the new Atlanta GM, getting his chops in there, making a deal.
Former
Warrior assistant GM.
I like Dwight and Kemba. They might be able to bring something interesting to that city. I'm not saying they're going to do things. They're not going to beat Cleveland, obviously.
They'll make the playoffs, though.
Yeah, you'll make the playoffs. You got Batum.
Yeah.
Who's their two guard? I'm drawing a blank.
Is it is Kid Gilchrist still on there? Yeah, Kid Gilchrist in there
Kid
still.
Gilchrist.
Yeah.
Dwight and Kemba pick and roll is pretty formidable.
And they still have Al Jefferson too to come off the bench.
I got one question for that team though. Besides Kemba,
Who can make a play?
that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, exactly.
I can.
There's nobody else.
There's nobody on that team that can do that. I mean, and if you're looking at Dwight as your second best offensive option,
Yeesh.
I mean, Nicholas Batum is nothing to sneeze at, but he's not Nicholas Batum a few years ago
From Portland. No
Right.
way.
So
And you know what? It's always funny. They're going to draft somebody out of a local out of NC State, Duke, or UNC because they know they're going to try to sell tickets. Kaminsky's on that team too. He's pretty good. I like Frank Kaminsky.
I like Dennis Smith for him.
That could be a good option.
Yeah.
but
then they just move Kemba to the 2 guard.
no way.
No.
They just
Kemba's
back
too
up.
small.
Right, exactly.
So if with this trade done, are we thinking
Playoffs?
Are we thinking playoffs?
For the Hornets, I think maybe in the East. Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Yes, I'm thinking playoffs, but I'm thinking first round sweep.
You're
by the
tinkering.
Cavs.
Yeah, tinkering.
Oh man, I could see that.
There's a lot of different options. We got to see who they're gonna draft too. So
Right.
you
Right.
never know. What else you got? What else do you guys want to get? Guys, got any more thoughts about this? I mean, this a lot of different storylines that can play out there.
One team that needs to make a move. Go.
Ooh.
That's a piece away, maybe.
Timberwolves.
Okay.
I think so. They got a good young core. I mean, another one you could throw out there is Milwaukee.
If they get a point guard, or not a point guard, but if they get, man, I don't know what they need. There's something missing, but they have the length to bother a LeBron-led team. They can throw a lot of bodies at him.
They can.
And if Thon turns out to be, if he's getting you 12 and 12 and 10 this year.
If they have a front line of Thon Maker, man, that's a running joke. If they've got a front line of Thon Maker, Giannis, and a healthy Jabari Parker, watch out.
You think Jabari gets moved eventually?
Greg Monroe. Oh, I forgot about Greg Monroe. He just up there.
Don't forget
two.
about Chris Middleton either.
And Chris Middleton as well.
Think so?
Yeah,
Maybe
I would think so.
Middleton. Maybe Middleton is a piece you can move. I'm thinking that Jabari Parker. There was too much invested in the guy. He was the second pick, and if you're not ready to throw in the towel in terms of the verdict on him, then I think you hold on to him.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see. He's had his share of just injury plagued season. That's all his career's been.
Right.
I did like him coming out of college, but it sucks.
My one team would probably.
Sorry, I gave you guys 2. I'm sorry about that.
Oh yeah, just you're pumping yourself up.
I'm
It's all
sorry.
good. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not mad or anything. I think my one team that I'd have to go with, the Celtics. The Celtics, if I think they are the one team was that going to be your team?
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
But don't you think
I wouldn't elaborate.
they're one player away? They've had, they already have your instant offense heat check guy in Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Right? I'm hearing that they're going to get
Hayward.
They're going to get Hayward, and then was it Josh Jackson they're looking at?
Yeah, Josh Jackson.
Right. So if they add another piece to that, they got a lot of bodies, a lot of capable basketball players on that team, and a great coach. So
They got a full. They could run a full 15. They could run a full 15-man rotation.
wow.
I would think so. I could think so. That's a lot.
But if
Because then Smart, what's Smart gonna do? What's Jaylen Brown gonna do?
I think you then start looking at shopping maybe
Marcus Smart, yeah.
or Avery Bradley.
I would think so.
please.
not on Avery Bradley.
Marcus
Avery
Smart
Bradley's
though.
too. Avery Bradley is too. He's perfect for this league in the way that his scoring is just enough to where you can't go full Tony Allen and leave him alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but he still can.
It's a good comparison.
He's still gonna sit there and play 40 minutes in the playoffs of great defense.
Yeah.
He's gonna bother your
hustle.
best
He's
guy.
gonna hustle. He's a little gnat.
I love Avery Bradley. He's one of my favorites.
He gets on your
Okay.
nerves. Get out of here.
Well, here, if Ace got to bring up 2, I'll bring up 2
Yeah,
as well.
fine.
I think your dark horse in all of this is Utah. If they get to keep Gordon Hayward, they're a piece away. They were kind of competitive in those games against the Warriors up until maybe around halftime.
Yeah.
Or the third quarter. I think Philadelphia is one veteran away from getting those young guys to develop to be something in 3 years.
So then, where would you look for them to get a 2? I would think that they'd have to look at the 2 guard spot.
Yeah, I mean that's a vacant
be the vet.
position, right? Maybe a Jamal Crawford.
That could be interesting.
Maybe Vince Carter wants to eventually kind of start playing with the coaching role. Philadelphia would be a good place for him.
That's an interesting segue to
They
go down.
they need a vet on that team with
Yeah,
all
they
that
do.
young talent, though. Young superstar ability talent.
Well, they have a great core. I mean, you've got Embiid, Saric. We saw what they were able to do when they were playing against the Warriors. Simmons gets his first crack at the run, and we'll see with Fultz. I've been hearing, that he could be James Harden 2.0. That's some of the comparisons that I've been hearing from people. I'm not kidding. Oh, Bobby looks at me like I'm like shocked, but that's what some of the people have been comparing him to. That he could be.
He could be what?
James Harden.
You can't handle the truth.
Maybe that's me. I don't know.
You know what?
Who knows?
He's got a lot of potential.
He does?
He does.
Going into this draft, I just thought he was on a doo-doo team. I just thought he was on a sorry Washington team.
That team was
who
horrible.
lost Michael Porter Jr. By the way, he
Because of
decommitted.
Lorenzo Romar.
Right, because they got rid of the
Yeah.
coach. I did watch a Washington USC game recently on the Pac-12 network.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. And he took over that game when it needed to be taken over. So I'm a little bit more sold on him than I was.
Well, that's good.
Okay.
There's a lot of different things to play out. The NBA draft is tomorrow. Bobby and I got a chance to speak with one of our, great basketball minds, Devin Williams of In the Lab, 10,000 Hours. That guy, he knows his stuff. He got a chance to go to the NBA draft combine, so it was good, chance to talk to him. Huh, Bob?
Yeah, man. he provides some insight. I'm excited for everybody to hear the interview. I think we're attaching it to this.
Yeah, it's coming on in a little bit.
All right.
So keep it locked, and we'll get a chance. We'll speak with Devin Williams.
All right.
When we come back. This is the Bay Area Roundup, and we are glad to be joined by our friend Devin Williams from 10,000 Hours. We're going to talk about some NBA drafts, some basketball talk. We're going to get into the offseason and see what's going on. Devin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited about this NBA draft tomorrow. I know that much.
And you were out at the Combine, and let's get into some of the draft talk. And who did you see that stood out to you, some of the prospects heading into the NBA draft tomorrow?
Well, there were a few that I really liked. But one, you may not, so a lot of people haven't even heard of him, but his name is Kyle Kuzma. He stood out to me more than anybody. He came out there and he kind of reminded me a little bit of Draymond. He gave a lot of energy, but the difference between him and Draymond from that age is this dude Kyle can shoot the ball. I mean, he came out here like 4 3-pointers. Similar to Draymond, he was giving a lot of energy, hustling, setting hard screens. He even shot a sky hook. I haven't seen nobody shoot a sky hook that age in a long time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch.
So, we went through who that was the main guy that impressed you. Is there anybody that you saw that may have hurt their draft stock coming into the draft?
Hurt their draft stock coming into the draft. Well, a lot of the guys, man, if they're going at the top, they're not even in the draft, in the combine or whatever. So like those top 10, 15 guys, they're not even in it. You're just getting a bunch of guys that aren't promised to be in the draft that are all there. So like guys like Jason Tatum and Lonzo, they're not going to participate in that because they're already guaranteed. And I don't blame them because, I mean, let's say they go out there and get hurt. That would be terrible for them. But I will say there was a guy, I mean, I've been a fan of him for a long time. He went to Kentucky. His name's Isaiah Briscoe. He kind of had an okay day out there, but he went out and kind of had a lot of turnovers, which I expect him to be a lot better. Being that I watched him for so long, especially through high school, but he didn't do as good as I thought he could have done, and didn't show that he can run a point guard at a high level. Now he still has a chance. He's young, but we'll see.
Anybody that you think, who could be a sleeper, that's someone that could creep into the first round, or, maybe somebody that we're not really thinking of, that's getting any publicity right now?
I'm going to just be honest with you guys, man. The only guys I was really impressed with was, what's his name? Frank Jackson. Like Frank Jackson from Kentucky, what school did he go to? Duke. And also Kyle Kuzma, as we mentioned before, because Kyle Kuzma isn't one of those guys that really stand out to you. Like, they don't just jump out at you right away. But he was the only guy at the draft that had even I'm sitting next to Magic. I'm sitting next to Bird. I'm right next to all these guys. It's just the who's who of basketball. And they were all there. So Kyle Kuzma, every time he scored, you heard everybody go, ooh, like everybody, man. Then you see somebody get dunked on by somebody else, and nobody even said anything about it. But every time Kyle Kuzma did something, everybody was going crazy. You saw everybody writing or typing in their phones. Frank Jackson came out there and played well. He didn't shoot it well from three ball, but he gave some good energy and got to the rack a couple of times, and he actually impressed a lot of people out there. So yeah, that was that.
So I don't know if you're a betting man or not, but if you were, who is the team or which team do you think is going to be the one to reach on one of these guys?
On who? The guys that I've just named?
Just in general, like, is there somebody is there a team out there that you're thinking that they're overly impressed with something that you're hearing and they're gonna, go ahead and reach like the Kings do, for example, every year on a big man?
As of right now, I can't necessarily say that. I mean, because this is a really good draft, but there's no LeBrons. For whatever, there's no LeBrons, there's no Wades. I mean, how often do those guys come around? So one of the people that people really like is Josh Jackson. And people are kind of sleeping on him, but I think that he's going to be picked up really early as Dennis Smith. Somebody made an interesting comparison. and compared him to they say he's the new school Steve Francis. But right now it's just like kind of up in the air. You see a lot of guys switching around, making all kind of trades, and now I think the Philadelphia Sixers are going to pick up Fultz first, which is great. I'm not sold on Fultz, but from what I'm hearing, the Lakers absolutely love Fultz. Like, they love him. And it's hard to, pick up somebody like Fultz over Ball or Ball over Fultz, because somebody like Ball, you can't necessarily see how good he is until you see him play, and Fultz and guys like De'Aaron Fox and those top players, they'll impress you in the workouts. I don't think Lonzo Ball necessarily impress you in the workouts.
So let's get into some of the moves that were going on. Let's talk about that Lakers trade that frees them of the Mozgov contract and sends Russell, and they get the 27th and 28th pick to go in the NBA draft. Let's get your thoughts on that move.
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. I was born and raised in LA, so I grew up a Laker fan. I moved out here. I can't remember the year, but I've been out here for about maybe 7 years, possibly 8. I grew into a Warrior fan, but Laker fan first. So when I found out that Mozgov got as much money as he did, I was spitting angry, because you got to think. I'm serious. I was foaming at the mouth, because you got to think about it. Like, he made so much more money than Shaq. Like, he signed a bigger contract than Shaquille O'Neal. You have to think about this, and then compare that to what he did. Now, I'm not saying Mozgov is a bum, because I don't think he's a bum. I thought he played an important role with Cleveland when they went to the championship, and everybody kind of wrote him off. He got paid for a reason. But I'm so happy they got rid of that contract, because we need something else in. I think that they're gonna try to go for Ball. I'm hoping. I'm happy that we got D'Angelo Russell out. And here's it coming from me. I love Russell coming into the draft. When he came into the NBA draft, I think 2 years ago, didn't necessarily pan out the way that we wanted, as the Laker Nation. Not the way that we wanted, but and especially with the whole him and Nick Young thing. I mean, it was just a big distraction. So I think that we've been trying to rebuild for years, but it's better to get Mozgov out of there and Russell out and start with some new players.
And it seems like that's the going rate for dumping a bad contract. I mean, they have, they've dumped one of them in the Mozgov deal, as we talked about, and now they're still sitting on Deng. Do you think that this is just they're clearing this cap space and they're praying for not really praying, because he's already said to people that he wants to go there in Paul George.
They're making a move for LeBron.
It's LeBron.
Yeah, I believe that they're making a move for LeBron in a few years, but I don't think he's going to go. I personally think he's going to go to the Clippers. And also, they're trying to get Paul George, and that's the obvious move, because he made it very clear that he wants to come to LA. He's in LA. I mean, he's born and raised here, so I think that would be good for him. Is that the move that I would want to make? No. But to sell tickets, it would be nice to have Paul George here, being that he's from LA. It would be nice to have Lonzo Ball, being that he went to UCLA, he went to Chino Hills, he's born and raised in LA. It'll be nice to have that representing the city. But as far as Paul George goes, how much longer does he have to play at this level? Being at the injuries that he's had and this and that. So personally, I think that they're trying to make room to try to get possibly LeBron and Paul George. Is that going to happen? I doubt it. I see wanting to play at the Clippers. He wants to play with his friends. I'm talking about LeBron. He wants to play with Chris Paul. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in a few years.
And the other trade that went down yesterday was the Dwight Howard trade. Let's get your thoughts about that. He's going to Charlotte for Plumlee, Bellinelli, and the 40th overall pick. So get your thoughts about that with Dwight Howard going to Charlotte.
Well, the funniest thing that happened was pretty much all right. So being that I'm a Laker fan, you guys know that Dwight Howard went to the Lakers, and that's when I was actually a Dwight Howard fan too. When he went to the Lakers, I fell out of love with him, man. He just I can say a lot right now, but I pretty much say I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his work ethic.
Saw it firsthand.
But the funniest thing about that is he was tweeting about it he was tweeting about trades while he got traded. So
5
he's
minutes
talking about,
before.
Boom.
5 minutes before it. It was hilarious to me because I guess you can call me a Howard hater. And it's all fun and games. We talk basketball. I don't hate any of these guys in real life, but as far as what he brought to LA, I mean, that was the beginning of the end right there. So I'm actually it says a lot about his game because right now he's becoming a dinosaur. I don't know if a lot of people really understand that. He can rebound, he can block shots, but not to the level right now that DeAndre Jordan can. He can't defend on the perimeter as well as DeAndre Jordan can. He can't jump as high as DeAndre Jordan can. And then on top of that, he can't make a free throw. And then on top of that, he can't shoot from 15 feet when he gets the ball wide open. And then on top of that, he can't hit 3-pointers. So and he doesn't really have a great post game. So guys like that are becoming extinct. Being that he's exiting his prime, and you're seeing how many teams has he played for now? He went to Orlando, he went to LA, he went to Atlanta, he went to the Rockets. Think about when the Rockets lost him. I mean, their record was way better. To his defense, they did make the Western Conference Finals, but they went on a streak when Dwight Howard went out. So him going to a different team, I mean, it can help, but I don't see it helping just because of the history that he's had with other teams.
Would you say right now that, Cleveland making the finals is, and, Griffin's gone, they're in the midst of like the most panic rebuild in NBA history right now? We got to get better. Just kind of throwing stuff on the wall and trying to see what sticks.
Did you guys see anything about, and I think a report came out on Bleacher Report. They were saying that the Cavs said that Jimmy Butler should just stay away and avoid what's going on. Avoid what's going on. Yeah. That's a bad situation, man. They lost. I don't know what they can do. They got all these guys making all this money right now, and I don't think that a lot of them are trade. Like, I wouldn't take Tristan Thompson and really trust him on another franchise. Being that how much money he's worth right now, I wouldn't trust a lot of these guys, man. So, I mean, who's going to trade for him? I don't think that anybody would. I mean, J.R. Smith is definitely a shooter, but
streaky shooter at best.
He's here one day. He's going the next.
Yeah, he's what I like to call a space cadet. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I don't think it's going to be good for them, especially. I mean, because I don't think that they're going to win it next year. So after next year, everybody and their mom is talking about LeBron going to LA or leaving in general. Hopefully, he doesn't, so we can continue to develop some sort of a rivalry because we're missing that. We're missing like good rivalries in basketball. I mean, you're seeing LeBron and Durant, they had like a little duet together that starts surfacing on the internet and them rapping together and stuff. Draymond and LeBron talking in a barbershop. And it's all cool. Man. I like seeing people get along, but we need rivalry. So hopefully they can keep things going in Cleveland. But right now it's not looking so good, man.
Well, speaking of one of those, the two, you got LeBron and Kyrie. I've been reading all this morning about how Kyrie's telling his Team USA teammates that it's kind of a toxic situation and he might be looking to make a move. Is that something that you would seem like there's any truth to it, or is that just smoke?
Isn't it crazy how much information is out there right now? How easily it is to access? Like, as soon as something happened, it pops up right on the internet,
right
on Bleacher Report. You get the notification or whatever. But it seems like something's going on, legitimately. You're hearing. I mean, because how would you feel as a teammate? I don't know what goes in their locker room, but as a teammate, you're starting to hear LeBron is going to go to LA.
Right.
Some of these guys don't even know the second that they get traded. They hear it from Twitter or something like Dwight Howard did, for example. So there's definitely something going on. But I say Kyrie has to protect himself and put himself in a good situation. So if he's starting to look for different circumstances, like he's a champion now. He has won. And I think that he's very fortunate to get it, very fortunate to play with LeBron. He might need to go get his money, man, because I can tell you right now, some of these dudes out there, they don't give a crap about winning championships. There's so much money out there to be made. I mean, your kids could live off of that. So I don't blame him if Kyrie goes after his money or goes after championships. Either way, man, I'm fine with it. I'm a big Kyrie fan.
He's got to protect his brand. Nike's got to protect their interest in him too.
Nike's winning though right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
They are.
I mean,
Debate this.
Yeah, Durant down in the Warriors, in the Bay Area. He kind of, I mean, as much as people wanted to say that it wasn't a Nike move, it became a Nike move because he won down here, man. He's starting to win. He won the fans over there. You got LeBron in Cleveland. You got Kyrie killing it. I mean, it was a money move, man. So it's interesting where the NBA is at right now.
Yeah, and you want to talk about toxic situations. Well, there's a big toxic situation in New York. Phil Jackson talking about dealing Kristaps. Do you think he actually pulls the trigger on that deal?
I just think he's trying to get fired, man, so he can get his money. But I don't know what he's trying to prove at this point. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis is very promising. Like, he has so much skill and he continues to get better. He's a unicorn. I mean, I've never seen somebody at that height. I mean, we've seen Durant, but this dude is 7'3" with a crazy wingspan, can shoot the ball, can actually take you off the dribble. What would he be trying to prove by getting rid of this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like he just needs to shut it down, talking about Phil Jackson, and just give it up, because you got all these – he brought in – remember last year where they were talking – Derrick Rose got on camera and said the New York Knicks are a super team now, or said something crazy like that, how they're going to do whatever they thought they were going to do. Then Noah got hurt. Then Derrick Rose kind of went down. I mean, it's just a toxic situation. I wouldn't suggest that anybody goes there, and it's too bad because that's a big market. It's a big market, and it's good if the big markets are doing well. I mean, it would just help the sport grow even further, in my opinion.
It's just been crazy this whole basketball season. Are you just looking forward to this next year coming up with this upcoming season?
I'm excited because I know that the Warriors are probably gonna win it again. That's the only reason why I'm excited. So I can keep just rubbing it in people's face. Anybody knows me knows I love to just talk trash all day about basketball. I'm a fanatic, man. So the only reason why I'm looking forward to it is definitely because of the Warriors, but at the same time, I want to see what's gonna happen with all these young players, man. This could be the start of the beginning of a new era with all these players. I mean, I made the comparison from Dennis Smith to Steve Francis, and I see a lot of John Wall and De'Aaron Fox. Lonzo, I see a lot of Jason Kidd in them. So, I mean, this could be the beginning of something really, really special. And I'm hoping that, as basketball goes on, that things can continue to grow. I mean, it's a lot of excitement around the NBA. We kind of wrote off the NBA because the playoffs were awful. I mean, they were awful. Seriously. Yeah. And we kind of forgot about how exciting some of the matchups were this year. I mean, we had a lot of fun matchups. I mean, with Harden, they're killing it, or he was killing it. Westbrook was killing it. So there were definitely a lot of good things. I mean, we're seeing the Greek Freak come around. And then the championship was 5 games. And then they won almost 16 games in a row talking about the Warriors. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers almost swept it. So let's not forget about how fun this year was. But at the same time, I mean, my fix to all this is build more super teams. That's all you can do.
Right. And I feel like, maybe you can attest to this, but the fact that you have these 2 teams that, maybe one of them is looking to start shipping pieces off, but one team that's going to force the league to rethink the way that they do things. I think that, having the Warriors on top and having a target to shoot at will make the rest of the league have to follow suit. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a copycat league. That's all it is, man. They always try to copy what each other is doing. I mean, think about the Spurs with Popovich. All these teams that have been winning, a lot of them they trace back to Pop. I mean, there was I can't think of the Atlanta coach's name. Atlanta Hawks coach's name. Yeah, he was with Pop. Kerr was with Pop. A lot of these good dudes that spread out through the league, they were with Pop. Even Mike Brown, he was with Pop. So it's starting to spread. I mean, you got to move the ball, man. They play fast, move the ball, set good screens. It's not all about ISO, but it's good to have those ISO players. I think they're going to start copying it. But one thing that you can't look past is hard work, man. The thing that I respect most about the Warriors is those guys actually work. They work hard. Nobody was expecting Steph Curry to be what he is. They knew he was going to be good. They didn't expect Klay Thompson to do what he's doing. They didn't expect Draymond to be an all-star. We kind of knew that Kyrie Irving was going to be really good because he was number 1 overall. I believe so. Wasn't he number 1?
Yeah.
LeBron James, number 1 overall. I mean, what you're seeing here is guys that built themselves through hard work and built themselves through a system. As soon as Mark Jackson, I give all the credit to Mark Jackson, but as soon as he left, they won a championship, right?
Yeah.
I think it was what Kerr put in place for these guys to win. Ball movement, sharing the ball. I had seen some things from Curry that I had never. I mean, he was running mid-post one-on-one, ISO plays for Steph Curry. And that's not what he did when Kerr got there. So, I would say Mark Jackson put a lot in place, but Kerr really brought it home. And they got some good guys in there to match all these guys. So I think that they did things the right way. Obviously, we got Durant, and that really took things to a different level. But, hats off to the Warriors, and I think that other programs are going to start copying. I have a lot of friends around the league, assistant coaches, and they tell me the same thing. You got no choice. What else are you going to do? Just keep losing, right?
Yeah, it's true. And who's some of the, we talk about the Warriors, that they're a fun team, to play for. You got the ball movement, people sharing the ball. Who are some of the vets, the old vets in free agency that would look to come here on these minimum deals to try to go and get a ring? Who do you think would come through?
Wait, say that one more time.
Who do you think are some of the old veterans that would come in for the Warriors, in the free agency trying to look to get a ring?
I think Vince Carter would be a great choice. He's still hooping, man. This dude's like 90 years old, but he's still going out there and giving a good shot. Like, he's hitting threes and he's playing much defense as he can play. But I wouldn't take a chance on him necessarily. I think that he would try to come to the Warriors. I would if I was him, because that's where the money train is. Some of the older guys, I can't really think of too many off top besides Vince Carter.
How ironic would that be, that he would come back after they drafted him and then they flipped him for Antoine Jameson back in that 98 draft? How crazy is that?
Isn't that crazy right there? I completely forgot about that. But it would be good for him, just like how Matt Barnes came back and did his thing. That was a big pickup. But they need some guys around Iguodala's age that can bring in, some hard work and some outside shooting. You got to be a shooter to play on this team. You got to play hard. And they like long players. Think about it. We had Harrison Barnes. He was long. Iguodala's long. McCall's long. Sean Livingston is pretty much 6'9". All these guys are tall and they can shoot it. Sean Livingston can't shoot it from the three, but he's got a crazy mid-range game.
All right. Thank you again, Devin. We hope to look to talk to you in the future. Thanks again for sitting down with us, man.
All good, man. Thanks for having me.
Once again, thanks again to Devin Williams of 10,000 Hours in the lab. And, that'll put a wrap on this one, guys. Should be fun. NBA draft is tomorrow. Got a lot of good content coming up.
I just have one.
Yeah, go right ahead.
One
please.
more
We
thing
can
to touch on before we wrap this thing up. A little quote from Draymond talking about LeBron.
I never played on a super team.
I don't know if that will sit well with the rest of the basketball heads that like to support LeBron. Can we really quickly touch on
let's go.
where we think he's going?
LeBron?
Yeah.
You think he's dipping?
I have a feeling.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, he's great friends with Chris Paul. I think him and no one's talking about San Antonio in all this.
That's a very...
He is not going to San Antonio.
Exactly why no one's talking about it. If that's Chris Paul's number one choice, he's going to take a hard look at it. You cannot tell me that the Spurs aren't going to make that happen.
Hey, you're the aspiring actor, right?
Yeah.
Where are all the films being made?
L.A.
Where do the Lakers play?
L.A.
Where do the Clippers play?
L.A.
That's not cool, man.
You're not they ain't
Dark
going
horse.
there.
I'm not saying Spurs is the number one option. I'm just saying if that's Chris Paul's
You know
first
what?
option, he's going to take a look at it.
I think it could be I think it's the Clippers.
I think it is the Clippers. He loves Jerry West. Read his book 4 times.
I think Jerry West is a key component here that could be a part of a turnaround for the LA Clippers. Something? It's funny. Elgin Baylor was the head of the Clippers for many years as their general manager, and now his teammate Jerry West is going to turn everything around.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
So LeBron's just going to show up
You know why I'm here.
and get his movies stuff going and get his off the court stuff going.
It sounds real smart for him.
And you know
to be down
something?
here.
And
Right?
I think
Yeah.
and Ballmer is a smart owner. He's a smart, crazy owner. We need to get more Ballmer drops, by the way. I'll be on that. But I think he could potentially get LeBron into some ownership, and I think that could be the key factor.
Trying to do some Conor McGregor stuff.
Yeah,
huh?
key factor in the dealings to get him down there.
You pair LeBron with a guy like Lonzo Ball, who we're hoping.
You're talking about the Lakers situation.
Yeah, if he goes to LA,
okay.
Say Lonzo develops, I think a point guard like Lonzo Ball benefits him more than a guy like Kyrie does, because he's a facilitator.
Yeah, and he's not going to be, let's dribble half the shot clock out and figure it out.
LeBron literally just needs to hold his hands up and the ball will find him.
Yeah.
Cut to a lot of what's going to be fun about the Lakers is if they do, and they're probably going to get Lonzo. They're going to be entertaining. He's going to be making guys that aren't that good look pretty good.
He raises their level of competition, their skill level,
with
with
his ability to move the ball.
Larry Nance is going to get a lot of lobs this year.
Yep.
Ooh, and that boy can dunk.
Yeah.
He can dunk. That boy good.
You know why I'm here.
Yeah. Exactly. Any more things before we wrap it up?
I think that's about it.
Oh, what's up?
Shout out to Andre Ward for getting that W, getting that chip.
You know what?
Undefeated still.
The Bay Area undefeated.
Shout out Oakland, California.
The Bay Area is undefeated in the last week or so. Shout out to Andre stopping Kovalev that put a nice stamp on his legacy.
Yes.
I don't want to hear nobody talking about how he doesn't fight anybody. I'm talking to you guys.
And
we're low blows.
Nah, and none of this low blow talk, because if you're wearing your belt that high, if you're right on the line, it's legal. I'm sorry your schlong is right there, but no.
Whoa, we're talking about schlongs.
The counter. Ding.
Just saying.
Ding, 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 ding.
Legal.
Well, again, A's, they swept the Yankees the past weekend.
Hey, there we
Good for
go.
them. So,
Hold on.
okay, anyway.
Oh my God! Who
Just
the
saying.
hell cares?
It's Oakland. I'm
Don't
just
be
saying
so
it's
quick
Oakland.
to Aaron Judge.
Okay, enough of
They're
that.
not going to rook us.
Enough of that.
I hate everyone.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood for this.
Did you just say, what did you? I'm not even.
I don't know what I
Okay,
said.
enough
an
of this.
insider.
Goodbye with this. Again, it should be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little. Should I say little? There's actually kind of a big fight that's coming up, and Rob and Bob, you guys got a little insider on that one.
Segway God. Yeah, I mean, keep an eye out. We got this Clash of Worlds fight coming up with Floyd Money Mayweather, Conor McGregor. Spang is a big MMA guy. I've watched boxing my whole life. It's not going to be one of those professional analyst things, but I think we're going to be able to create some good content and following this fight as we march towards August 26th.
Yeah, so once they have their first press conference, we're going to have some sound bites and talk about it, and we're going to let you guys know why it's not going to be what Max Kellerman and what Stephen A. Smith and all the boxing pundits think it's going to be. It's not going to be the embarrassment to a sport that they think it is.
Right.
So we're going to let you guys know.
We'll leave you on that.
Yes, sir.
We'll leave you on that note. All right. Once again, this has been the Bay Area Roundup. We are the 4 Sportsmen, and have yourselves a great evening.